have a Hulk. Welcome back to Bizarre Podcast Dogs Must Die. My name is Grant. You can call him Chip. And today we are, it's the beginning of the end, I suppose.
Yeah.
As we talk about episodes 25 and 26 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean, the first story arc in the final drop. We have finally entered December 2022.
Okay, so Kenshiro, Mazinger Z, and Pinocchio all walk into a bar together. That's this episode.
Okay, I just want to say at the top, this is great. I get why people love it.
Yeah.
I have some suggestions. There are some finer points that I think should be honed. And as I talk about those when we get to them, I want people to know that is the difference between like a B plus and an A plus. Like I like this a lot, even if I might sound pretty critical in the future.
So episode 25 starts with a short recap of, hey, Pucci's going to Cape Canaveral. He's going to the Kennedy Space Center under the new moon. And Jolyne, Emporio, and Hermes have broken out of prison.
And so they look back at the aquarium from mainland Palm Beach. And they take a deep breath and they look at each other and in unison say, "It really was a shithole," and laugh.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah. Emporio is extremely excited to see a gas station for the first time ever.
This little boy who has never been outside the walls of this prison, like literally the walls. He lives in a secret ghost room inside the walls. He thinks that bus stops are something from fairy tales. He's amazed.
Yeah. But they can't take the bus. They're worried about getting caught.
Mm-hmm.
Just a matter of time before like their faces get put all over the news and stuff. Like, hey, these people have escaped. Tell us if you've seen them. And so the sun rises behind Jolyne. She throws off her coat, and then that normal animation of her throwing off the coat and like standing towards the camera blends right into the OP.
Yes.
The new OP.
I love that the big moment she's punctuating, though, is just declaring that they need to get a different kind of ride.
Yes.
We don't ride the bus. This is America. But yeah, this new OP it's much moodier. It's much less high energy. And it's mostly silhouettes of the cast on top of backgrounds of the events that brought them to Green Dolphin and to meeting one another in the first place.
Yeah. And also Emporio shoots a gun.
Hell yeah.
He looks very scared to be doing so.
I love their individual silhouettes for that portion. That really takes up, I think, the bulk of it. If you use a stopwatch, they're all filled with symbols that relate to them.
Yeah,
like Jolyne has the butterfly and stuff like that. But weather reports includes like meteorological signs for like barometric pressure and shit.
Yeah.
Like, you have to know something to understand what these symbols are that represent him.
Yeah. There is one shot that includes Foo Fighters in it, and it's her ascending to heaven.
And of course, the end involves Jolyne rushing Father Pucci with actual flames in her eyes.
Yes. Mirroring, if I remember correctly, the part 1 opening where Jonathan Joestar also has a flame in his eyes while he charges towards the camera, like the exact same way. Yeah. She punches the camera and it switches to like a rock that has had her fist like imprinted into it with the Stone Ocean logo on it.
It's very good. I'm sure it will grow on me, but I do miss my chair dance music.
Oh yeah, it's a great song.
It's good. So back out. In the prison, so not out, but in, rather. Weather Report and Inazui are chatting. Weather Report is pretty sure that Jolyne has escaped just on a hunch, basically. This whole arc, turns out Weather Report has really good hunches regarding the current location of people.
Yes. Anasui is shocked to hear that, oh shit, Jolyne's gone, and when Weather Report turns to walk away, Anasui grabs Weather Report by the back of his shirt collar And when he pulls it down, he notices he also has a Joestar birthmark on the back of his left shoulder. And he's like, hey, what the fuck is this?
They're just giving these out to everybody these days. But yeah, I appreciate that Anasui's big reaction isn't to say, hey, that's like the thing on my girlfriend's neck. It's no, hey, that's the thing on the baby's neck?
Yeah.
Because he hasn't seen Jolyne's neck. She's just not that into you.
Yeah. And he's demanding explanations from Weather Report, and all Weather can say is just like, hey, Father Pucci's my enemy. I'm going to go fucking beat the shit out of him. I'm escaping also. You can come if you feel like it.
So, speaking of Pucci, he is in the back of a taxi, panting and sweating, and there's a news bulletin on the radio about the first jailbreak, I guess, of 2. And so the car stalls out with a sign that says they're 3 miles out of Orlando, with $33.33 on the meter. And in the back seat, you know how taxis have reading material?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's got a copy of the Three Musketeers.
I love to read the Three Musketeers.
This is a long haul taxi. They are expecting really long trips.
Either that or repeat clients so they can pick up where they left off, I guess.
Yeah, I'm flying into MCO to go to Atlanta. Don't ask me why. Just have a book in the back for me. It's fine.
Yeah, so this taxi driver is just saying, I'm so sorry, Father. This is as far as I can go. My car just will not start. Despite him saying out loud, as random people in JoJo's tend to do when something strange and paranormal is happening to them. But I keep my car in top condition all the time. I love my car. I take such good care of it. No!
He's very assiduous. Yeah. So Pucci continues on foot, and his feet take him to Lucky Land Hospital, where the EMTs are even chattier than the taxi man.
Yeah. We got a drug addict here. He's overdosing. Oh, my God.
Quote, the burglar was shot in the leg by an officer, then proceeded to jump off the 6th floor of a building. That's so detailed.
It's very, yeah. There's a third ambulance that comes in with somebody else, and I forget what exactly happened to them.
A biker slammed into a median and washed out. Yeah. So as soon as he gets there, he has 3 ambulances with 3 victims described in fine detail are taken out on 3 separate gurneys, and then 3 objects fall from them. 1 drops a ring, 1 drops a quarter, and 1 has one of the bullets from those cops fall out, and all 3 roll down and until they collide with Pucci's shoe.
Mm-hmm. As Pucci looks down at these 3 things that have rolled towards him, he is grabbed from behind by it's the drug addict that grabs him?
A guy. He does get called a junkie, so yeah, I guess this is the drug addict who who got shot by a cop and then jumped out of 6th floor window.
Yeah. So
he's somehow the healthiest of them.
Yep. He grabs Pucci from the back, and he's got a pair of scissors that he's holding right up to Pucci's neck. And everyone...
This man has no nose, by the way.
Oh, yeah, he's awful looking.
Like, we see him in profile, and he got that Voldemort nose.
So all the hospital workers and cops that are here go, oh my God, as they see a guy being taken hostage. And Pucci is not fazed by this at all.
No. He talks about seeing 3 shooting stars, and then asks the man if he believes in gravity.
Yeah.
Like he's Wile E. Coyote, like your belief in gravity means anything.
As he talks about, hey, do you believe in gravity? Do you believe...
In a young girl's heart.
do you believe people can draw others to them? He gets the scissors jammed clean through his neck, and they poke out the other side of his neck. And then he goes, I'm fine. This is good, actually. If you move the scissors 1 millimeter to the left, you'll cut one of my very important nerves, and I'll die. Do you want to do that? Go ahead.
This is the weirdest scared straight I've ever seen.
Yeah. You're here because my gravitational pull led you to me. He even goes, don't you want to stop relying on useless drugs? And so that guy goes, hey, what the fuck? And he, terrified that this guy does not care that he has scissors completely clean through his neck, runs away, and 3 cops all fire around at him.
And they shoot him through a little, like, no walking sign.
Yeah.
The bullets penetrate the sign, and then his body behind it, and he falls into a shrub. Oh, dear. And then the camera comes around behind him, and he has the star birthmark on his shoulder, too. Seriously, you get these out of, like, a Cracker Jack box these days.
Yeah, it's just a little fake tattoo. Pucci's just slapping him on everybody. Yeah, and as we see that star reveal on his shoulder, his eyes open, he gets a glowing stand aura around him, and something grabs him and drags him deeper into the shrubs.
And that no walking sign, the little silhouette man, is gone.
Oh my god.
So it's daytime. It's daytime outside the prison. Weather report is helping a tiny old man who tripped and dropped his groceries.
An elven man.
You don't even have to mention it these days.
Yeah.
Did you know Florida is Rivendell?
I've only been once, so I didn't notice. I'll have to keep my eyes peeled next time I go to Disney World and look out for the real life elves.
You're too distracted by the mouse ears. You don't notice the elf ears.
Yeah.
He helps this man pick up his can of beans or whatever, and sends him on his way. And Anasui is like, "Hey, don't help weird old men." He's gonna recognize us. We're very recognizable. We're fugitives.
Like, honestly, we could at least, like, get a haircut or something. Come on. Put on a normal shirt. They won't recognize you. But, yeah, they're having trouble. They want to catch up to Jolyne because Weather Warpath? Whoa. Weather
yeah,
forecast.
That's what he's wearing. He's wearing a warp hat.
Yep. Weather can, like, vaguely sense where Jolyne is. And so they just want to go in that vague direction, but they don't want to get on a bus. They don't want to steal a car because they'll get caught quickly. And that's when this old man who previously, when Weather helped him up, was complaining that, hey, it's raining. Whenever it rains, it makes my joints ache and my knees hurt real bad. He comes back and is like, "Do you want to ride in my truck? My knees feel great." And it's because Weather has controlled the weather so that there is a single, like, God ray beam of sunlight coming out of the clouds, following this man like a spotlight, which heals his achy joints.
Yes. His barometric correlated pains have been relieved, so they get to ride in the back of his pickup. Hell yes. And as they leave this public restroom in the parking lot of a hotel, a thing that totally exists, the little silhouette man on the men's room sign is also missing.
What the?
So yeah, Weather Report keeps flexing his Jodar, I guess. The attraction, the natural attraction between stand users has been taken to its logical extreme. I'm surprised it took this long, frankly. And as they are headed vaguely north, this guy also keeps a lot of literature in the back of his vehicle.
Yeah, there's just, like, crates full of books in the back of his truck.
He's going to a children's library or something?
Yeah, maybe he's donating stuff. I don't know.
The first thing they find is a theme parks guide. This is the sort of guidebook that you'd find just about anywhere, $5, and you've got all the pertinent details of all the attractions around, right? And so on the cover, we have logos for a fake SeaWorld.
Yep.
We have a fake version of the big Universal Studios globe.
Yes.
And just like the road sign and the bathroom sign, there's a white spot with, like, little hash marks around it to show that something that was here is missing. And judging by the outline, I think they're going for the fishing kid in the moon from the DreamWorks logo.
Yeah.
I think
that's what that's supposed to be.
So let's talk about what is probably in this book. All right, we're in the spring or summer of 2012. Honestly, kind of a light time for new attractions. If this was later in the year, they could be getting excited for new Fantasyland in the Magic Kingdom. But no,
right.
we're several months away from that. The hot thing right now is either SeaWorld's Turtle Trek, or perhaps Despicable Me Minion Mayhem.
Oh, yeah. You gotta take Sex Pistols to that. They love it.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. They'll look up at the screen and just say, Mommy? But I'm guessing that this is not how it was originally.
Yeah, so in the manga, the difference here is, he's looking at a theme park guidebook, and yes, there is like something that was supposed to be on the front cover that is, there's just a white patch in the shape of what's supposed to be there, and he starts flipping through the book, and like there's supposed to be images of different characters in there, and they're also just like missing. And in the anime, Anasui is just like, this book doesn't even show the famous characters in it. Where are these famous cartoon characters at?
At this theme park, the mascot's a really famous character. I will not name either thing directly.
Yeah. In the manga, it's straight up supposed to be Mickey Mouse. Obviously.
Right.
It's Disney.
Naturally.
And so in the manga, Anasui gets pissed off and he says, look at this weather. What a crappy guidebook. None of the characters are on it. I want to see the Disney characters, god damn it. Where the fuck is Mickey? Fuck's sake. If there's no Mickey, this shit ain't Disney. like obviously they can't do that.
Of all people to get so bent out of shape about Mickey Mouse.
Yes. I so desperately want to hear the dub voice actor just voice Anasui shouting that stuff because it's so funny to me.
I mean, if he's got a fiver, there's no way 100 people haven't.
Yeah.
Or a cameo, rather, is what I meant. But
just the idea of expecting to see Mickey Mouse and when you don't, getting visibly upset. It's so funny.
Now, if I were directing this, instead of what I still believe is the DreamWorks studio Fishing in the Moon Boy, I would do Figment from Epcot.
Oh, yeah.
Because on the one hand, it's a simple purple dragon. It's so easy to make that like copyright safe, but also real heads know. Oh, yeah. So
Figment.
So yeah, Anasui is flipping through. He sees all these blank spots and blames the guide for being defective. Meanwhile, some manner of little critter is just zipping around the back of the truck bed with them, with little cartoon zippy noises.
Anasui spots this. He's like, hey, what the fuck is that? And he goes like, bending around the side of the crate to go grab this thing. But it's too fast. It's just zipping around so much. Even using Diver Down, he's not able to grab this thing because it's so quick. Eventually, he does grab it, and it's the weirdest drawing of interpretation of Pinocchio I've seen in a bit.
This is a Chihuahua goblin.
Yes.
Made of wood, with a little hat and a little nose.
Mm-hmm. This is how you draw Pinocchio if you want to give kids nightmares, I guess.
Yeah.
It's when you read Pinocchio as you like watch Pinocchio or something when you're 4, and for some reason you're irrationally afraid of him, and so in your nightmares you imagine Pinocchio has little fangs he's going to bite you with.
So brief actor note, the English voice of Pinocchio here was previously heard in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure as the Invisible Baby.
Yeah. Okay.
They brought back the voice of all the baby coos and babbles.
Yeah.
However, she is probably better known as the current Minnie Mouse, if you want to take it back to the topic at hand. Yes.
Wow, okay.
2020 to present, a very recent job for her.
Huh.
But, I mean, the last Minnie Mouse worked for like 60 years.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the mid-episode. We have no title card. That will be true for both part 1 and 2, actually. And so, back in the truck, Pinocchio here, a wooden puppet complains, for real though, I can't breathe. No shit.
Yeah.
I've been forced to accept that Star Platinum has lungs. I do not accept that Pinocchio does.
He just thinks he can't breathe. He is being strangled around the neck by Anasui. But yeah, weather forecast is just like, okay, well, obviously we have to immediately consider the old man as being a stand user. But he probably just would have immediately attacked us in the bathroom. So I don't think it's him. He just seems like an elven man.
One of the two kinds of men in the world.
Yep. So they try to interrogate Pinocchio.
And they ask who he's working with, and Pinocchio says, hey, I'm working alone. And then his nose grows so quickly, so suddenly, that it bloodies Anasui's face.
Yes.
And then he explains his half-truth away. Okay, I'm not really working with anybody, but there are some other guys in here. And as the full measure of the story comes to light, his nose shrinks away.
Mm-hmm.
He also says that he might have been Anasui's friend when he was younger.
Yeah. He also, while being like throttled and strangled, is saying like, hey, please don't hurt me. You might make children around the world very sad.
So yes, his accomplices, quote unquote, he's got 7 little guys around here, 3 of whom are stealing that apple right there, right now.
Hey, give me that apple.
And of course, it is the 7 dwarves. This interpretation of Snow White's 7 dwarves, they're each about 1.5 inches high, and they have faces made of potatoes.
Yeah.
They're very, very lumpy, misshapen heads.
And they're all missing their right eye.
Yes. And inside a crate is Snow White.
Yep.
She's passed out, very asleep, as Snow White tends to be.
Yeah. And so Anasui is freaking out as all these different various characters just start pouring out from crates and stuff. The dwarves, one of them says, hey, I like the T-1000. That's my favorite Terminator. I like Chewbacca. Like they just start
because this whole thing begins, at least, as a story of fictional characters come to life. And fictional characters have opinions on other fictional characters.
And then the little dwarves just start going like, hey, so a lot of people have interpretations where we're like doing stuff to Snow White and all that shit, but this is an entirely platonic relationship. Yeah! Okay.
And I gotta level with these little dwarves. Guys, I hadn't heard the rumor that you sneak into girls' panties and do, quote, dirty things.
No.
Stop spreading that one around yourselves. It's not helping you.
And while all this is going on, the radio in the truck, a news broadcast suddenly comes on, voiced by, of course, the narrator. Warning! Batman has disappeared! For all around the world, Batman is gone! We're currently investigating this phenomenon.
Anasui picks up a Snow White book that is in the truck with them and flips through all these incomplete pages. And all of this is brand new to Weather Report. Because, of course, the Green Dolphin reading room does not stock fiction.
No.
He doesn't know what the fuck any of this is.
Yeah.
And so he threatens to murder Pinocchio if he doesn't just back off and let him read this shit.
And around this time, like, Anasui is shouting at Weather and stuff, and, like, for a little bit now, when he's been talking, he's had, like, a very slight reverb effect on his voice.
Anasui doesn't want Weather to read the book because he was reading that book, and even when Jolyne's not around, he's so weirdly jealous and possessive.
That's just his personality, I guess, yeah. And so Anasui's shouting at Weather, like, hey, stop fucking read that book. Fucking help me or something here? There's a bunch of weird freaks on the truck. They're not attacking us, but they're just weird and I don't like them. And that's when Weather completely ignores everything Anasui is shouting at him and just goes, Anasui, where'd you go? And then he like looks around and then looks down and he sees that Anasui's body is hanging from the bottom of the truck, getting dragged across the ground.
Yes, so he demands the truck stop. And so they look in the front, the cab of the truck, and see the old man is sitting on the seat, not driving. But there's also a second copy of the old man in the truck bed, also reading books and just chilling out with the dwarfs.
Yes.
And so the truck crashes and explodes because neither driver was driving it.
and everyone goes flying. Anasui is caught before he crashes into the ground by a soft bed of clouds that Weather created. And so Weather goes back to Anasui, aware of him again, asking like, hey, are you all right and stuff? Pretty sure this is a stand user attack, but I don't know why the fuck this is happening or why the little guys were going after you specifically and not me. Maybe it's because I don't know anything.
But that is body Anasui. Soul Anasui is still standing a few feet to the left like, hey, talk to me.
Yeah.
What is this?
And no one can like hear him or see him. And then the little dwarfs point up in the sky and go like, whoa, cool, look. And Mazinger Z, Tetsujin 28 / Gigantor, and Astro Boy fly across the sky. the same as in the manga.
And one dwarf is like, wow, who's that? And the other one's like, they're Japanese. They look cool, but they ain't shit.
Yes.
I think this is an interesting choice because all three of those characters have a claim on being like the first mecha anime.
Yeah.
Astro Boy, the first robot hero. Tetsujin 28, the first big robot hero.
Yep.
And Mazinger Z, the first piloted big robot.
Yes.
So it turns out that all of this is the effect of a brand newly awakened stand, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Mm-hmm.
And Bohemian Rhapsody wants to give everyone their greatest wish, to travel into the fantasy world and be powerful.
Yes.
And it is very hard to watch this in the year of our Lord 2022, December 1st, and see it as anything but a swipe at derivative isekai.
Oh God.
And I have to wonder, was that a common interpretation when this was in print in 2002?
I would assume not, because isekai stuff was like, still existed, but
I mean, we hadn't hit the like VR MMO interpretation. It would be, we were still in the Inuyasha period.
Yeah, that was when it was like a genre, but not an overplayed one that was extremely oversaturated with, back in the good old days where he could just fall into a portal and be teleported somewhere, and he didn't always have to get hit by a fucking truck and die to go to the place. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. Probably not back when it was in print, but now, oh yeah, like for sure.
So anyway, Anasui destroys Pinocchio, who bleeds so much he must have really been a real boy.
Yeah, he just grabs his head and just pulls it off his body.
And so he turns around, his foe defeated, and sees no one else around. Weather Report and Body Anasui have already beat feet. They're gone.
Yep.
But the old man's soul sees him, hears him, approaches him, and has even longer ears than before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's all like, I can't hear you. I've got so much hair growing out of my ears these days. And like you see his nails like growing and getting longer and sharper looking, and this whole time he's been covering his mouth and he can't quite see it all the way, but his mouth looks kind of like fucked up and weird.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. They do the whole Little Red Riding Hood Big Bad Wolf thing.
Yeah,
it's not the same 3 questions, but it is a different 3 like symptoms of wolfdom that he tries to justify.
Yeah.
Like, he calls his tail a feather duster and offers to dust Anasui's pants.
Yes.
I wouldn't know what to call that garment either. They can be pants.
Yeah. And then he leaps at Anasui and all of his skin starts peeling off, revealing the werewolf underneath.
Uh-huh. And so he gets his head chopped off.
Yep. Done and dusted.
And he's like, I've been killed. Just like in the story. And so I just want to make it very clear. We're at 2 kills. 1 with the story, 1 against the plot of the story.
Yeah.
Like, Carlito's Pinocchio, and no other Pinocchio I know of, is decapitated.
Yeah. Yeah. And as Anasui hears the wolf's head say, just like in the story, he goes, what? Story? And then a bus drives by with Weather and Anasui's body in it, and they both look at each other and reach towards each other.
And also Little Red Riding Hood is sitting in the bus too.
Yeah. And Weather is just thinking, about his like stand user sensing abilities here. Just the vague sense of where a stand ability is like being broadcast from. And he feels it's to the north, so he's just making his way in that direction.
And that's the end of the episode. We have a new opening, but it's the same old closing. It's Duffy singing Distant Dreamer over a very calming beach scene. Mm-hmm. So I did, of course, as always, as promised, check the differences between the manga and anime as listed on JoJoWiki.com. Thank you very much. The good JoJo Wiki.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that was removed in adaptation is that guidebook was supposed to have and then lose the MGM lion, representing, of course, Disney MGM Studios theme park.
Yep.
However, this being set when it is, that no longer existed. This was years after the licensing agreement ended, and it was renamed Disney Hollywood Studios. This is a change not for licensing reasons or legal reasons. This is a change for the march of time.
Yeah.
Knowing what 2012 really looked like. So that brings us to episode 26, Bohemian Rhapsody 2. So Weather Report and Ann Anasui are just standing on a street corner in downtown Orlando.
Looking normal.
And so Soul Anasui runs toward them to protect his body, who then runs from himself.
Yes. And again, because we have the soul and body separated, like we've seen before, the stand follows the soul, so his body can't fight with its stand at all. As Anasui's running, he just says, "Come back here, body!"
He's such a selfish little baby man, and he says the most ridiculous things so matter-of-factly. These are two things I love about Anasui.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the new OP again, and out of the action, there are 3 kids pointing up at a building and talking about seeing Batman climb it. We do not see Batman climb it. Instead, Anasui punches one of these kids.
Out of my way, child! Yes, in the manga, that was not Batman, rather it was Spider-Man. And if I remember correctly, you don't see Spider-Man really in the manga either. You just see his hands. Like, I think you see a shot of his hands as he's climbing the wall or something like that. And
as Anasui is rushing to catch himself, he shouts, "Why won't my body just stay still?" And I ask, have you considered getting diagnosed? Maybe getting a prescription? So, Soul Anna is accused of a horrible theft by a chocolate shop owner.
Yes.
He says, "Hey, I recognize you. You're the guy that just came in here and busted shit up and stole a bunch. I'm going to call the cops." And so Anasui's like, "Oh man, you don't have to do that. How much do I owe you?" And he flashes a wad of cash. And then the camera pulls out and you see the most incredible scam. Because Diver Down is fishing through the register and pulling this store owner's own money out through the wall out of view and passing it into Anasui's offhand so he can bribe this guy with his own money.
Yeah, it's great. And yeah, he's just telling him, "Hey, I didn't bust up your shop. It was my twin brother who did it. I'm looking for my twin brother." And at this point, 2 cops walk up behind Anasui, and they're like, "Hey, this guy like perfectly matches the description of this guy, this escaped convict we're looking for." They got like a Polaroid of him, and they're just like, "Hey, turn around," with their hands on their guns. "You gotta show us your face and answer some questions."
Imagine giving that description.
Yeah.
Where do you start?
Are you seeing like a 40% extremely hot naked man? That is probably him.
You see way more than 40% of him, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So as he is like peeking through the window of this shop, he sees himself run out the back door, and he's like, "Damn, I look good, but also I got to catch up to that knee."
Yeah.
So he turns around in order to deal with the police, not through deadly force as one might expect from him.
No.
No, through subterfuge. His face does not look like himself at all. And so they shrug and figure, I guess more than one guy shops at this store. Because Anasui's face looks entirely different.
It's very...
How could this be?
His face is very lumpy now, and his neck is fatter and thicker.
He's putting on a fake voice that's very silly.
Yep. And so the cops are just like, "Oh, sorry, sir." And they just let Anasui sprint through this like fucked up candy shop and run out the back. And this is when Anasui, running, thinks to himself, I implanted chocolates in my face with Diver Down to alter the shape of my face. And then, like, all the chocolates that were in his face just, like, come together in one big glob, and he spits it out his mouth. And his face is back to normal. Meanwhile, a news report on a TV in the chocolate shop shows a live image of Tokyo, which is utterly destroyed, and the news broadcaster says, we have received the word that the character Kenshiro from one of Japan's many popular cartoons has defeated the evil Rao. So yes, Fist of the North Star is happening right now.
There's an extra reference on top of this, specifically for people listening to the Japanese voices.
Yes, this is great.
Because the newsreader they got for this is himself the old narrator of the Fist of the North Star show.
Yes, that's such a cool, such a funny thing to do.
So, Anasui, the soul of Anasui, is now free of chocolates. Look at that body. You think he eats carbs? Come on, you're kidding yourself.
No way.
But he is approached by the soul of the shop owner, who has had a very eventful 3 seconds since we last saw him, because he has now become the Prince Charming of Snow White's story.
Yeah, he's riding a weird little horse.
A weird little white horse with Snow White beside him, now awake, being cheered on by these 7 freaky little dwarves.
Yep.
And the dwarves all just chant, just like the story, over and over again.
Yeah.
And Anasui is left to ponder this next to a grandfather clock in the middle of an alley.
Yeah. That's also next to a trash can that has the what's it called again? The Wolf and the 7 Young Goats.
Yes.
That is on top of the trash can.
This is an actual Brothers Grimm story. It's one of the less popular ones. It plays out kind of like a cross between Little Red Riding Hood and the 3 Little Pigs, right?
Yep.
I might as well just go through it because a character is about to.
Yes.
So this evil wolf eats like a whole lot of goats, but then the one goat, the youngest goat, survives and then goes and finds the mama goat, who comes and rescues all the other little goats, and then fills the wolf with heavy stones and throws him in the river to drown.
Yep.
Brothers Grimm don't fuck around.
They really don't.
He does not yet know this. Instead, he just hears the screaming goat parts. The chocolates, the partially chewed chocolates, have become partially chewed goats.
Yeah.
And he's not sure which thing they are. He asks himself, are they goats or pieces of chocolate? As he begins to wolf out, he's caught up by the surviving baby goat and knows that his fate is to be disemboweled, filled with rocks, and thrown, drowned in the river, because the Brothers Grimm invented the final girl.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's getting hairier and clawier, and his mouth widens into a snoot.
Yes. So yeah, Anasui suddenly realizes what this means. He's fucked.
Just like the story.
Yep.
Except in Pinocchio's case.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Pinocchio just ceases to exist.
I mean, he does. It's
yeah.
a spoiler, but
he does.
It's okay. Whatever. So Weather Report is walking down the street, and a guy asks him for directions, and Weather Report does not give him directions.
No.
He doesn't like to talk to people. He stopped speaking quietly, but he still won't speak, I guess.
Yeah, this guy asks Weather, hey, don't you recognize me? Don't you know me? And Weather Report's like, no, I'm pretty sure I have no idea who you are. I can't help you. And this guy goes, no, what I mean is you like me, right? You enjoy my work. You've been
check
moved
yes,
by
check
it.
no.
And then...
Because this isn't just any guy. This is one of Van Gogh's many self-portraits.
Yes.
This is specifically post-lopping. It's one with the bandage on the ear.
Yeah. And the instant this guy reveals himself to be one of Van Gogh's portraits, he's no longer drawn like a normal man, but rather he looks like a painting. He looks like an oil painting.
Yeah, I mean, specifically with the heavy, visible, thick strokes of Van Gogh. As best they can do it in the digital color process of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure as produced by David Pro. But you know what I mean.
Yeah. And it's fun. It's fun that they do this.
It is fun. He's fun to look at.
Yeah.
But you know Vincent Van Gogh, that guy known for being open and charming and expecting people to enjoy his work.
Uh-huh.
Actor notes for Van Gogh here. His Japanese voice is the designated dub actor for John Bernthal, of all people.
Huh.
And the titular Big Wolf on Campus.
Oh.
That show got a Japanese dub.
What? One of these days, I really need to just go down the rabbit hole of what Western shows get Japanese dubs, because I find that very interesting.
While Van Gogh's English voice may be recognized as the engine guy from My Hero Academia. So Weather Report, he's faced with a living painting and says it is time to split.
Yep.
Meanwhile, a bunch of goat kids are yelling from inside the belly of Wolf Nisui, which has summoned Mama Goat, who is a little more than gruff, shall we say.
Yeah. He initially sees her coming around the corner, just her shadow with a giant pair of scissors going snip, snip, like a horror movie.
Mama Goat, covered in breasts.
Yes.
Just covered.
Yep. Just full of them.
Top, bottom, left, and right. All of the little critters, all the fictional little critters are very Oingo Boingo Brothers Adventure.
They are.
That element of Iraqi style. While all the fictional people, like Little Red Riding Hood, Snow White, very idyllic, very clean. Mm-hmm. So there's another news report that says, in addition to pop culture characters going missing, now art around the world is going blank. They're reporting live from the Louvre, where the Mona Lisa is missing, where Venus, the birth of Venus, is partially blank.
Yeah.
It's just some nude woman wandering around the world.
I think this is interesting because this is there have been plenty of times where the public has been affected by the powers of an enemy stand. This is, I think, the first time where it's so it's worldwide, the effect of this stand. Everyone in the world is aware of this paranormal shit going on right now.
This is an incredible move for there to be a global stand. And my favorite thing about this stand is that we will eventually catch up with the user. He's not doing shit.
No.
He's just turns on the effect and lets it go.
Yeah. It's great.
It's so much fun. So this news, I guess, happens at the moment where Weather Report totally splits. Now he is also soul and body separate, like Anasui.
Mm-hmm.
And so he takes the razor being held in the hand of Self-Portrait Van Gogh, and then that razor becomes a paintbrush. Mm-hmm. And he starts to also become brushstrokes, because his place in the story as someone who is connected to the work of Van Gogh is to become yet another of Van Gogh's self-portraits. Yeah. Another post-slicing one, because his ear sloughs off as well.
Yes. Yep. The self-portrait of Van Gogh starts talking about, how at the ripe old age of 38 or whatever, he committed suicide. And so now Weather Report suddenly has a revolver in his hand, and he shoots himself in the head.
Well, he shoots himself with a paintbrush, and then it becomes a revolver.
Right, that's the order of it, yeah.
Van Gogh was shot in the gut.
Yeah.
We're only 70% sure he did it himself to begin with. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
More dramatic to be shot in the brain, I guess.
And to totally make up the historical inaccuracy that Van Gogh shot himself twice in the brain.
Yeah.
So Weather Report, and okay, this is yet another unbeatable stand. We have to stop the user. My stand sense is tingling. I've got to send my stand to cause a storm so powerful it stops the highway a certain number of miles north of here. Haha, perfect. Mm-hmm.
So we cut back to Anasui, who's just running away from the mother goat here with her scissors. And he, like, closes a door, like a steel or metal door, and uses Diver Down to fuse the metal with the building itself so the door cannot be opened.
But that's not a door anymore. That's a storybook. The pages flutter open, and out comes Mama Goat,
who just slices his side open with the scissors. And Anasui just goes, "Fuck, this is unbeatable!" And he just, like, screams for Diver Down to phase through a wall and, like, drag him along with him.
And the reason he believes this is unbeatable is because everything plays out exactly like the story.
Yeah.
Except, my guy, you killed Pinocchio!
Hey!
You already... Why do you believe this? You should be the last person to believe this.
So as he makes his escape, he gets out of the building and grabs onto a speeding police car, housing the same cops from before.
Or is it? Because those cops are now Girl with Pearl Earring and Hercules wearing the pelt of the Nemean lion.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's clutched onto the trunk, like practically skitching on here.
Yes.
He reaches around to the back door handle to open it up and come inside to safety. Except the back door of the car also flutters into storybook pages, and he gets stabbed again, and the goats have started bringing large rocks to fill his belly.
Yes. And so Anasui, with scissors in his gut, just shouts, "Weather, hurry up and kill the fucking stand user already!"
Just guys being dudes was better than this.
Yeah.
So Weather Report feels his enemy on the move, and it's the scissors guy from the hospital. And the reason that he's still on the move is that he wasn't on the roads. He's in a plane. He's flying above that storm with his champagne flute.
Yep.
So let's talk about this guy. We haven't talked about the look of this guy.
Yeah. So this guy is, aside from us mentioning that he basically doesn't have a nose. Like, they draw him a nose, it's super flat, like Voldemort style.
Mm-hmm.
He's got weird teeth too. You know how most of the time anime characters are drawn just with, kind of like mouth guard teeth? This guy has individual teeth, always.
Yes, all the time. So yeah, he's got a wide, very, very flat nose. He has a little U tattooed under one of his eyes in orange.
Mm-hmm. His eyes are very small and far apart, too.
Yes. Purple knit hat, a green, very high crop sweater. It barely covers his chest.
Yeah.
With sort of a, I don't know, stylized turtle shell pattern on it, or maybe a tire tread.
Yeah, kind of. This guy almost looks like he's from Part 5 to me.
Yeah, I could buy that. Yeah, sure. His tan pants are held up by custom suspenders. You know how in the back suspenders just has the one?
Mm-hmm.
That's front and back for him.
Yeah.
And that's basically his outfit. This man will only be named in the title card that announces his forthcoming defeat.
Mm-hmm. His name is Emmanuel Ungaro. Or no, that's his namesake. His name is just Ungalo.
Yes. Ungaro is, of course, a French designer. His Japanese voice was George Desan in G Gundam, so there's a bit of a reunion there in the scene he shared with Pucci.
Mm-hmm.
He's also Ocelot in Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh, shit.
And he dubbed the role of Chicken in Cow and Chicken.
Great.
While the English voice of Ungalo was Keroro, the Sergeant Frog of Sergeant Frog.
Oh, okay.
Also Android 19 in Dragon Ball Z, and dubbed the main character in the English release of Shin Godzilla.
Oh, okay. Yes. Ungalo's just hanging out on the plane, thinking about, his whole life sucked and he didn't know his purpose in life until, damn, he got this stand ability and life kicks ass now.
Uh-huh.
Meanwhile, Aladdin and the genie are flying right outside the plane.
I like this genie design a lot.
Yeah.
He's a good genie.
Yeah, he's kind of like teal in teal colored. He's a cool design. I like that genie. So yeah, he has now sworn his life to protecting Pucci because this kicks ass.
I really like how Ungelo's whole thing was he's just this chaotic wanderer kicked down by the world, and now he is kicking the entire world at once right back with no aim, no purpose, no drive or anything. The only thing he's got is sudden loyalty to the guy who gave him a high better than drugs, having a stand.
Yeah.
He's great. I love it.
And so now we cut to a flashback the night before, back at the hospital.
Yeah, where Pucci, celibate Catholic priest, wants to talk about his views regarding the zygote.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know. We just don't care. Shut the fuck up. Get out of here. But no, this is another metaphor. Yeah. You know, it's not so much a competition between all the sperm as much as it is a winner and a bunch of other sperm at its back hoisting it up on their shoulders like it just scored a touchdown at the big game.
Meanwhile, we see a bunch of CG animated sperm doing just so.
And now I am scoring the big touchdown for heaven, and you three, the sons of Dio, are my sperm. What the fuck are you talking about?
That's right, boys. You're my cum. That's what you are. Metaphorically, I think.
So, yes. The three people brought in on these three ambulances the previous very night were brought to him by fate, more bastard children of Dio himself.
Yes.
In order to serve as his final bodyguards against Jolyne for the next 4 or 5 days.
Yep. And yeah, when I first heard him say, when I first read this part, he just called them the Sons of Dio, I thought that was just like a cool name he came up for his servants. No, they really are actual children of Dio. Again, Dio his sperm is everywhere. It's everywhere. That CG sperm was probably Dio's sperm. Who knows?
You know, most vampire fiction tells us that vampires are infertile.
Yeah.
JoJo says nah. Nah.
You know, maybe Dio was, but switching to Jonathan Joestar's body, it gave it all back. Especially because...
Jonathan, I've taken your body, your arms, your rippling shoulders. I've taken your cummies, Jonathan.
And you know what? Because this is before he gets the Joestar blood at the end of Stardust Crusaders, his body wasn't entirely his yet. So, it works even more. This is Jonathan Joestar kids.
No, fuck it. That's... No. That's Giorno. Giorno is the son of Jonathan and Bruno. These are Dio's kids. I've met one of them. These are fucking Dio's kids.
Yeah.
I mean, Dio might be, perverting the sperm donation of Jonathan, but these are not Jonathan's kids.
Yeah. The sperm's all weird and fucked up now.
Oh, the things I have to think about. The things I say.
Yeah.
We record these on Sunday. This is the Lord's Day.
This is resting for me. I'm doing exactly what I should be doing on Sunday.
By the green, orange, yellow, red water. We're talking about post-impressionists. Get off my back. God.
So Unglo fist pumps a bunch in the plane. He loves this shit.
Yeah, back in the present, back on the plane. He's remembering that night. It's the best night of his life. Man, I can't wait to talk about the other Dio kid we get a decent look at, who's wearing a cow suit.
Yes.
Yeah, fuck society. I'm turning society inside out with cartoons. Hell yeah. This owns.
So... this is when Weather realizes, shit, he's on a plane. That's how he's moving the way he is. Fuck, the weather can't catch up to a plane. It's too fast.
If you are limited to previously existing, record wind speeds, explain the frogs. Maybe he just schlooped him up from an incredibly well-populated zoo.
Yeah, maybe.
So yeah, Weather Report is becoming more and more Van Gogh-y all the time.
Yeah.
He's Van Gooey, you might say.
Ooh.
And there is a Van Gunny on the sidewalk in front of him, and he runs from the gun before he shoots himself in the head a second time, as fictional Van Gogh did or did not.
Yeah.
But he's knocked back toward it by the body of Anasui. Well, the soul of Anasui.
Yeah.
In its big bad wolf form flung out from the backseat of the cop car by all coincidence.
Yep. Yeah, they go catapulting back, and Weather Report gets shot a second time in the head by the gun. And this is when Weather Report's head just starts turning into goo, and he starts melting. And Anasui also starts to melt, and his hand turns into goo and falls into his mouth, and he starts choking on his hand goo.
And the goats are loving this shit. Oh my god, I've never seen goats so happy before.
Yeah, he's drowning. Yes! Just like the story.
I could go viral on TikTok for these goats.
Yeah.
The self-portrait of Van Gogh, the previous one, says now that Weather Report has assumed the death of Van Gogh, he is going to go off and live a happy life.
Yes.
Are these things bound to the narrative or not?
I have no idea.
But that is when Weather Report, who should be dead by now, grabs the lapel of Van Gogh.
Mm-hmm. What's going to happen?
Find out in a minute, because first we have to go back into the sky where Dio Jr. here notices a kid on the plane reading an unaltered Aladdin storybook. Wait a minute, that can't be right. He's supposed to be flying out the window, my friend.
Hey.
So back on the ground, Weather Report has seized the hand of Van Gogh in order to doodle on the sidewalk a character of his own creation. He's making new fiction which becomes real through the active power of Bohemian Rhapsody. And this creation is a superhero known as Mr. Putback. And his ability and drive are both to undo the effects of Bohemian Rhapsody, to suck up in his big vacuum gun all of these characters and send them back into the fiction land.
Yes.
I have doubts that Van Gogh would ever design a character to look like this.
So Mr. Putback is a man in like a blue suit with a big blue top hat with a silver like metal plate on the front that just says Putback.
Mm-hmm.
And he's wearing what kind of looks like diving goggles and a full metal face mask that has a long twirly mustache growing out of it. And he's got like silver like pauldrons and like gauntlets on. This guy also just looks like he would be a hero from from Oingo Boingo.
This guy owns, but I do have to point out, even the parts of him that feel really vintage are more like Edwardian.
Yeah.
Or Gilded Age, even.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Van Gogh was dead 20 years before these elements were... Whatever. It's fine.
It's fine. So Van Gogh gets sucked up into the vacuum, and there's a very well-done animation of him, like, kind of getting sucked up and, like, dispersing into paint globs, and his jaw gets sucked off, and then his teeth individually fly off.
It's gross. It's
gross.
Great and gross in equal measure. And then there's another news broadcast. The news anchor says, quote, "It appears everything has suddenly returned to normal."
Yeah.
I can't explain how, but this strikes me as so wrong for how news anchors talk.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine turning on fucking Channel 4 Detroit and seeing and hearing someone say, "It appears everything has suddenly returned to normal."
Phew. And the souls of Anasui and Weather Report get sucked up in the vacuum too. And Weather Report's just like, everything's going to be okay. We're going back to normal. And they just like disintegrate into paint globs or whatever and get sucked up.
But the newsreader does tell us that there is an exception.
Yes.
Pinocchio has never made it back. There's no story, no version of Pinocchio that actually has Pinocchio in it anymore. 3 different movies of the past year have been rendered unwatchable.
Yep.
Which is not much of a difference for 2 of them.
Yeah.
So Ungolo in the sky is despairing again. He's beyond recovery, as his little text on screen states.
Yep.
Again, this is the only time he is named when he is dispatched, because he is too sad to ever try again.
Yes.
And I guess Mr. Putback just exists in the world now.
Yeah.
He can't Bohemian Rhapsody without also bringing back Mr. Putback. So he's in a total stalemate. He has a self-nullifying stand, which is a really fun idea.
Yes, yeah. And also just having a stand that is actually really defeated by playground rules of, no, it doesn't work now, is great.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So we're done with him. We're done with Weather Report and Anasui. Who haven't we talked to? Oh, right, Jolyne.
Hey, what's Jolyne up to?
She's in Romeo's room. Romeo, her ex-boyfriend, you know, the really unsafe driver.
Yeah.
He is coming home and he's very, very surprised to see her.
And, like, when he opens the door and just sees her standing, she isn't just standing there. She is doing a hell of a pose. Like she's been holding that pose for 20 minutes until he opens the door.
Well, she's got to show off this new belt to somebody.
Yeah. He's scared. He's trying to reach for the phone. And she's telling him, like, fucking don't move a muscle, dude. And Romeo's falling to his knees and, like, crying and begging to Jolyne to forgive him, saying,
and he's pretty good at begging like a chump, so good that she cradles his face in her hands and puts her thumb in his mouth.
Yeah.
Very, very tender, very trusting, I gotta say. And she's like, shush, it's okay. I want a car and I need cash.
Give me that stuff. Don't call the cops when I leave. Fucking, I don't really give a shit that you did any of this. I have bigger things to worry about now.
And he says, okay, but I only have $1,000 on me. You, what? That only must be nice.
Yeah.
What? That's 2012 money. This guy just, his carrying around, his walking around money paid for a quarter of my wedding. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So she takes it, she leaves, and then we see the exterior of Romeo's house, and you know what? It's all coming together. It makes sense. This dude lives in the American version of Versailles.
And so, as Jolyne is leaving, she meets up with Hermes and Emporio, and she hands the keys to Emporio, of all people.
He's never seen a car in his life. What are you doing?
Yeah.
He's 9.
And suddenly you can just hear Romeo, and he's calling the police. And we see something wiggling around in Jolyne's hand because she took a sticker with her, one of Hermes' stickers.
And that weird, tender moment wasn't just a weird, tender moment. It was a trick. She sticker duped his tongue so that he could listen to everything he was saying.
Yeah, so there's just this tongue in her hand wiggling around.
Oh, that's good. That's fun. And so, he's calling the cops just like he said he wouldn't. And Hermes is like, yeah, this dude fucking sucks. I'm glad you dumped his ass from prison.
Yep.
Fuck this guy. But he's calling the cops with a false lead. He's saying she was never there. But she did call on the phone looking for help getting to Mexico. So now, Meanwhile, Emporio has discovered a helicopter.
Yes.
No!
Look. No. He's never seen a helicopter, but he knows how to fly one because he's lived in that prison with the wonderful non-fiction-only library, and therefore there are technical manuals on how to operate helicopters in there. He knows everything.
He can't reach the pedals.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, I need your keys. I need $1,000. I need a couple phone books for my driver to sit on so he can see.
Oh, no. Hermes will put a sticker on his legs, and he'll have a second pair of legs that can just operate the pedals. There you go.
It's disturbing how likely that is.
Yeah. But the episode ends with them deciding they're going to take the helicopter. And also, just to be sure, let's pull the sticker off his tongue and just teach Romeo a lesson for being...
Let's just hurt Romeo's mouth real bad, just in case he deserves it for something else.
Yeah, and so you hear him scream in pain.
But that's not quite the end, because after the credits, there is one of those somewhat rare, less rare all the time, post-credit scenes, where the cow suit Dio's son asks his new master Pucci to fix his droopy eyelid. The end.
Yep.
Somehow even less necessary than Sportsmax.
Yeah.
Unless that eyelid kills people, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. No.
Oh, by the way, the ending credits, while it's mostly the same, there is a new addition to it. You see the waves and stuff, but eventually the camera actually goes under the water now, where you get to see a bunch of dolphins swimming around.
Oh,
Yep.
dolphin. Il Dolfino.
And that is it. That is the 2 episodes for today. Bohemian Rhapsody is a pretty fun one.
Bohemian Rhapsody's pretty good. I made my points as we went. There are a couple points where I would really, really like to tighten things up a bit.
Yeah.
If Pinocchio had reformed and just like taunted Anasui at some point, clicked his heels and went away. He's like, yeah, all right, I'm not going to get you, but I just want to prove that you can't get me.
Yeah,
it's not in the story. The big bad wolf doesn't kill Pinocchio. It's not how it goes. That'd go a long way. But then you lose the gag of like, for some reason, all Pinocchio is gone.
Yeah, that is a pretty funny punchline, so... I just love it when stand fights permanently alter the world in some way by the end.
Yes, yes.
Part 4 and Part 5 basically introduce multiple urban legends and cryptids that continue to exist. This stand fight, eliminating Pinocchio from the universe. It's pretty good.
I would say that Pinocchio is probably like the 43rd best. So somewhere around the 43rd best Walt Disney Animation Studios feature film.
Yep.
I mean, just approximately. So I recognize you're losing a lot of history, but as far as narrative, yeah. Anyhow, if you want to know why I have such a granular approximation, go check out my co-host. I do a series called Forming the Castle. That is, I'm trying to watch every Walt Disney Animated Studios feature film and all of their hybrid movies and movies from the other studios they have distribution deals with or acquired in the course of their history, and others that are just, I want to say, historically relevant to the history of the studio. Like The Secret of Nim is in here.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't fit in any of those other categories. I want to say 65 or so movies in at the time I'm speaking these words.
I forget, how long ago did you start doing this?
This was June, so I'm definitely going to make it within a year with some months to spare. But yeah.
Maybe that list will come in handy for a future Let's Play as well.
Maybe. You want to know my exact middle?
Yeah.
It is The Secret of Nim, coincidentally.
Oh, wow, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I've only seen The Secret of Nim once, when I was a child.
It's good.
Okay.
I would put it just above Alfred Hitchcock's Sabotage.
Okay.
And just below Enchanted.
Okay.
This list is weird.
Yeah, it's a good list.
So, yeah, we're talking about other things. Let's talk about this thing. Let's talk about next week when on the schedule we have episodes 27 through 29. That is Sky High, Heaven is at Hand, 3 days until the new moon, and Underworld.
Yeah. I feel like we got to the last chunk of episodes of Stone Ocean very fast. Seen so much JoJo's now that it just feels like it goes by faster and faster.
Well, that's okay. Everything is supposed to take place over the course of a week from here on out.
That's true. Something we hadn't really talked about too much. It's really weird to, in part 6, just be moving around different locations all the time now.
Yes.
Right?
Have different people in different places. Have, like, the question of transportation, even. Like, people going someplace not on foot is brand new to this part. Well, since the inciting incident, I guess.
Yeah. I really do enjoy the prison setting, but it is nice that for the last third, we do move on outside of it. It feels like the story moved on from it at basically just the right point.
Yeah, and like this town they're in, like, I honestly don't know if Weather Report and Anasuya are supposed to still be in like Palm Beach or have like made it to Orlando as they pursue, but it's a pretty town. It's bright, blocky, colorful. You know, the warm, welcoming colors of a tourist downtown.
And it is a nice contrast, just the change in color palette and everything.
But I also appreciate the continuity of like the repeated little like scuff and like damage textures
Yes.
along the walls of Green Dolphin Prison have followed them out of the prison.
Mm-hmm.
Romeo, you gotta do some work. Your house is looking a little ratty sometimes.
Yeah, there's a hand, like if you're a person who has an eye for just like looking at, animation and thinking about how it's made while you're watching stuff like this, you will probably notice pretty quickly that there are certain scuff marks that repeat all the time. And not in a way that's like distracting, just like, oh, they save time by making a whole bunch of different scuff marks and then they could just reuse them everywhere. But there's a couple specifically that just stand out to me where it's just like, oh, it's that scuff mark again.
There's one I see that always makes me think that, like, is there a trilobite in there? Is
Yes,
there like
that
an
one.
ammonite in there?
That's the one I'm thinking of, actually. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, that's just being out of the prison. It's a fun new thing to have everyone just being able to run around. I don't know. It's just cool.
But also, like, I really appreciate this fight for being, like, as weird as, like, coloring outside the lines and just getting just wild with it as some of the middle of part 6 stuff. But there is a logic that is bounding it all the same, which is why the complaints that I have are the complaints that I have, right?
Yeah.
Being able to see the lines, whether you're in or out of them, grounds you and is really useful to comprehend and be able to have a perspective, I guess.
Yeah.
Instead of just swimming in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of a plug, I'm just going to vaguely say that I think I've mentioned on the show that I've been cast in an upcoming unannounced audio drama series, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm not going to name it or announce anything, but I am going to continue to kindle that fire by saying some rough drafts of the first couple scenes got posted in the production Discord, and ooh, it's fun. Ooh,
nice.
They aren't my scenes. My scenes are later in the pilot, but ooh, it's fun to listen to.
I'm really excited to listen to that stuff once it's out. I've got one thing to plug, and that is just, hey, if you're following our stuff, especially been following for a long time, you probably knew that for a long time we maintained a website for all of the stuff we do. That's like Let's Play and adjacent stuff. And I haven't been able to maintain that website in years because it just takes too much time. I'm not very good at making websites. So, hey, I made a new thing that'll be an easier central place to like keep all of our stuff. And that is cohost.org/ChipandIronicus. Or if you just go to chipandironicus.com like usual, it will redirect you there. And that's just going to be kind of like the new central site where I just post like, hey, new stuff is out. Keep an eye out for these upcoming things, yada, yada. Also going to be the place where I maintain links for all of the archive.org backups of our videos. So if you've ever wanted to actually like download our stuff and keep it forever, including stuff that I can't host anywhere, like Anime Theater, due to copyright stuff, that's where you're going to be able to find all that stuff. Not everything is backed up yet. I just finished uploading No More Heroes 2, so Anime Theater is up next. I'll be posting updates there.
There is some wonderful CSS business happening in this post, though. I just want to say that it looks very fun.
I really like designing websites. I just hate maintaining them when it's entirely where everything it has to be maintained by me. Because I just don't have the know-how for like the back end stuff of websites. I can do the CSS and the front end stuff. I kept trying to go like, maybe I should make a WordPress so that it's easier to maintain the site and, so I don't have to update individual pages, HTML and shit. I don't have the time to learn that skill now and maybe forever. So yeah, this is the next best thing. I am happy with how it looks right now. I'm happy with the wiggly Paper Mario text for the Patreon link.
You should be happy with how it looks. It looks great.
Thank you.
So, again, come back next week with the next 3 episodes, 27 through 29, Sky High, Heaven is at Hand, 3 Days Until the New Moon, and Underworld.
Ooh. And thank you. Why am I saying thank you?
You're welcome.
See you later, folks.
To be continued.